You hit enter, and a page shows up. But no single person, company, or government runs the whole thing. The internet is thousands of separate networks owned by people who've never met, somehow working together. So here's the question for today: how do you build something this big with no one in charge of all of it? Not from one master plan. It grew over 60 years through experiments, failures, and fixes. Let's start at the beginning. Back in the 1960s, computers already existed, but most operated like isolated islands, huge, wildly expensive, and unable to easily share information with another computer far away. If you wanted to use one, you often had to go where the computer was. So researchers started asking a simple question: what if these machines could connect and share their resources? The idea sounded simple. Building a network that could reliably connect different computers across long distances was not. The obvious idea was to copy the phone system. But phones worked the wrong way for computers. A traditional phone call reserved a dedicated path for the whole conversation. Fine for two people constantly talking. Wasteful for computers, which might send one quick burst of data, then stay quiet. You'd reserve an entire path while sending almost nothing. So researchers tried something smarter. Don't reserve the whole path for one conversation. Split the message into small pieces, share the network with other traffic, and let the network pass each piece toward its destination. They called those pieces packets. Keep that word in mind. In 1969, the US government funded one of the first major networks like this. It was called ARPANET. And let's clear up a popular myth. ARPANET's main purpose was not to survive a nuclear war. That story gets mixed up with separate research into communication networks that could survive damage. ARPANET's immediate goal was simpler: let researchers share rare, expensive computers across long distances. The first message went from a computer at UCLA to another at the Stanford Research Institute. They tried to type the word login. They got as far as L, O, and the receiving computer crashed. So the first message sent between two ARPANET computers was simply hello. By the end of that year, ARPANET connected 4 sites. That was the entire network. Then a new problem appeared. ARPANET worked, but soon other networks were being built too, and they all followed different rules. They couldn't understand each other, so they needed one shared way to connect. Researchers came up with a set of rules called TC pipe, and those same rules still hold the internet together today. And here was the clever part: each network could keep its own design on the inside, as long as it followed the shared rules for passing data between them. On January 1st, 1983, ARPANET officially switched over to TCP/IP. That switch became one of the biggest milestones in the birth of the modern internet. For a long time, the internet was mostly scientists sending email and files. Handy, but not really for everyone. Then in 1989, a man named Tim Berners-Lee wanted an easy way to share documents, pages you could click through, hopping from one to the next. He called it the World Wide Web. And here's what almost everyone gets wrong: he did not invent the internet. He invented the web, just one kind of service running on top of the internet. Think of it this way: the internet is the road network. The web is one kind of service using those roads. Email is another. A website is one destination you can reach. So look at the progression. Researchers wanted computers that could share information. Packet switching made that practical. ARPANET proved that a large network could work. TCP/IP let different networks connect. And more networks joined the system. Networks built by universities, research institutions, governments, and companies. Together, they expanded it far beyond ARPANET. Then, the web made all that information much easier to find and explore. Through the 90s, companies began selling internet access. Browsers got easier to use, and the network moved out of research labs and into homes and offices around the world. Each step solved a problem left behind by the step before it. So, who actually built the internet? Not one inventor, not one company. It was built by generations of researchers, engineers, universities, governments, companies, and network operators. Different groups designing different pieces over decades. Here's the key: no one designed the whole finished system. They designed the parts, and the internet grew because new networks and services could connect to what was already there. That's the real answer. Not one mind, not one machine, just many people solving one problem at a time. If you like the hidden story behind the technology you use every day, subscribe. Because next time we take all these pieces and watch them actually work. We freeze the moment you press enter and go underneath to watch requests cross the internet, reach the right servers, and bring back the pieces your browser uses to build the page. See you there.